ओम अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम परमगुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम सर्वगुरुभ्यो नमः। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलं स्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। I welcome you all for today's eighth session on the flavors of Vaishnavism. Today is another wonderful philosophy that we are going to learn by a great Acharya whose name is Vallabhacharya. This school of thought is very close to us in a sense due to Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya, we have to be very thankful for what he has done indirectly or directly, I would say, for Prabhupada, for Prabhupada to spread his movement all over the world. It is due to Vallabhacharya's mercy on his disciplic succession. Those who have read Prabhupada Leelamrita, we can say that Prabhupada came to United States of America with the help of Sumati Murarji, who was the owner of a shipping company. And at that time, Prabhupada approached her and then asked if she can allow him to travel to America so that he can speak on Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam especially to spread the knowledge of Krishna consciousness throughout the world. And it was Sumati Murarji who led Prabhupada to come to America. And that Sumati Murarji falls under the school of thought of Vallabhacharya. And this Siddhanta is called Shuddhadvitam. And that's one point. Second point is that Sripad Vallabhacharya was a contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they had several intimate conversation on Krishna Katha. And also, Vallabhacharya is a very close friend of Srila Rupa Goswami. In fact, Rupa Goswami has mentioned about Vallabhacharya and his philosophy in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Therefore, we're fortunate that we are going to dive into the life history of Vallabhacharya today because there's a lot of materials to cover on Shuddha Advaitam and Vallabhacharya's lifetime and his writings. We may have to split this session into two. So today we will see an introduction to Vallabhacharya's philosophy and his biography. And if time permits, we'll see his writings, his literature. And then we'll focus, as the second part, we'll focus on his philosophy in more detail. Otherwise, it's going to be too much in one session to cover everything. As I said, there's a lot to learn from Vallabhacharya's biography as well as the philosophy itself. The Shuddha Advaitam of Sri Vallabhacharya belongs to the category of Advaita school of thought. As we have seen in the past, many school of thought, except Madhvacharya's Advaita Siddhanta, everything falls under the Advaita category. Then Kevala Advaitam, which is Shankara's, Vishishta Advaitam by Ramanujacharya, and Vishuddha Advaitam by Vishnu Swami, and so forth. As we can see, many of them fall into this Advaita school of thought. But the Shuddha Advaita philosophy is called purified non-dualism, which definitely marks it different from the Advaita school of thought. The phenomenal plurality of explained by Shankara is invoking the concept of Maya. So the Maya, which is identified to be this entire creation, the variation that we see is what the Advaita philosophy speaks about, which is driven by Maya. But that Maya has not been accepted in the Shuddha Advaita philosophy or Siddhanta of Vallabhacharya. He says that both the real and the differences that we see are one and the same. And that requires a little more detail of what I just said now. Otherwise, we may start thinking where's the difference between Advaitam and Shuddhadvaitam. So, little background. Adi Shankara, in his Advaita Siddhanta, said Parabrahman, that the absolute truth is Nirguna. Parabrahman does not have gunas, the qualities, attributes, forms, names, gender, nothing, nothing. So, nothing, whereas the same Advaita philosophy also speaks about there's a second stage of Brahman realization called Sahuna Brahman. Sahuna Brahman is where the Brahman has name, form, qualities, attributes, gender, limbs, everything. So one has to start meditating upon this Sahuna Brahman, and as they mature in their meditation, then the Sahuna Brahman is no more needed, and they can start realizing the Nirguna Brahman. That realizing Nirguna Brahman. So after Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya came. He said the Parabrahman, the absolute truth, is Sagunam. It is not Nirgunam. And that Saguna Brahman has a name, and that name is Sriman Narayana. He has a name, he has a form, he has unlimited auspicious qualities and attributes, um, and he is not a Nirgunam. Ramanuja also said there is nothing called Nirguna Brahman. There's nothing called Nirguna Brahman. And the Jivatmas are many. As by the Advaita Siddhantam, Jivatma is only one, that is the Brahman itself. Whereas Ramanujacharya said the Jivatmas are many, but the Brahman is one. And all the many Jivatmas, individual Atmas, and they are all Prakaranam, or the body of the Parabrahman. The Parabrahman is the soul of all this Prakriti as well as the Jivatma. They are Jivatma, and the Prakriti and Jivatma are body or Shariram of the Sriman Narayana. Therefore, the Jivatma has to perform bhakti or Sharanagati to attain Sriman Narayana. And when they attain mukti or moksha, they remain to be individual. They remain, this is very important, as we have seen in the past also, the Jivatma, when it attains mukti, they remains to be individual entity. Whereas in the Advaita philosophy school of thought, that's not the same. Once the Jivatma realizes itself, and then it becomes that Brahman, it merges into the Brahman, it becomes that one. There is no individuality over there. It's just same as Brahman. Whereas after Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya appeared, and his philosophy, Dvaita philosophy, plurality, or many for that matter, dualism, where he said that Jivatmas and the world are not one and the same, like Vishishta Advaitam says, it's not one and the same. It is separate entity. It's a separate substance. The world is separate. The Prakriti is separate. The Jivatma is separate. And for the Jivatma to attain mukti, they also have to, like Ramanujacharya said, they also have to perform bhakti. And once they do bhakti, and then they can attain the Lord. Once they attain the Lord, they still maintain the individuality. They don't become one. So Vishishta Advaitam and Dvaitam agrees that Jivatmas are individual entities. And after mukti, they remain to be same. The difference between Vishishta Advaitam and Dvaitam is that it, it's a one full package as per Vishishta Advaitam. Whereas Dvaitam says it's not one package, it's separate entities. That's what he said. After Ramanujacharya period and after Madhvacharya, then Ramananda appeared. That is, whatever Ramanujacharya said, Ramananda followed exactly the same path of Bhakti Marga, but he was spreading the same philosophy on the northern part. He was more popular in the northern side of the India. The difference between Ramanuja Siddhanta and Ramananda Siddhanta is that the worshipable object, who that is. As per Ramanuja Siddhanta, it's Sriman Narayana is a Parabrahman, whereas Ramananda said is Ramachandra as a Parabrahman, who is a Purna avatar. And then one should worship Ramachandra and attain mukti and moksha. That is called Janaki Vallabha Siddhanta. That is what we saw in the last session. Now, after Ramananda, which is 60 years later, after Ramananda, 60 years later, there was another great, very great, a saint, a sage appeared in the world of India. and his name was Sripad Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya said that the Purna avatar, neither Narayana nor Ramachandra nor Narsimhadev, as Vishnu Swami said, it is Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And one must worship Krishna, who is a Parabrahman, to attain moksha. So his Siddhanta, the Siddhanta that he established is called Shuddha Advaitam, whereas Adi Shankara's philosophy is called Advaitam, or also called Nirvishesha Advaitam, or also called as Kevala Advaitam. To differentiate from the philosophy of Adi Shankara, this is not called as Advaitam, this is called Shuddha Advaitam. And complete absolute truth has all the auspicious qualities, Kalyana Guna, all the auspicious qualities. And that absolute truth is none other than Krishna alone. No one else is greater than him. No one can be equal to him. And therefore, this is called Shuddha Advaitam, the pure non-dualism, pure oneness. And he says that this is the only purest Siddhanta that we all should adapt to. That is Vallabhacharya's saying. Though the current followers say that they are Vishnu Swamis, actually speaking, we also saw this in the previous presentation. During when we saw Vishnu Swami Siddhanta, Vishuddha Advaita Siddhanta, we mentioned this one over there, that it is said that Vallabhacharya falls into the school of thought of Vishnu Swami. Even now, the followers of Vallabhacharya, they say they belong to Vishnu Swami Siddhanta. But there is definitely a difference between Vishnu Swami Vishuddha Advaitam and Vallabhacharya Shuddha Advaitam. There's definitely a difference in there. Now, with that said, now that's a brief introduction about Vallabhacharya, what we are going to cover, what it is, and now we'll get into the life history of Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya appeared in a very, very pious and spiritually oriented family. Before we see about Vallabhacharya and his birth, we have to go 5 generations back in Vallabhacharya's lineage, in his ancestors. 5 generations back, in one of his ancestors' name was Narayana Bhatta, was a Brahmana who was residing in Telangana Desha, Telugu Desha, in a village called Sukarvadi. And now this was many, many generations back. Now some of these names would have changed. Some of these cities would have merged with a different state. Many things would have happened. But this particular place was located in the southern side of Krishna River. In his lifetime, Narayana Bhatta did 32 times Soma Yagam, one of the very difficult yagam to be performed. So he did not one time, he did 32 times. And then the next generation after Narayana Bhatta, that is the 4th generation above Vallabhacharya, that is after Narayana Bhatta, they also did Somayaga for 28 times. And that the 3rd generation did it for 30 times. And the 4th generation did for 5 times. And the 5th generation from there did for another 5 times. That is, father of Narayana Bhatta did 5 times, and his father's father did 5 times, and his great-grandfather did for 28 times, 30 times, and his grandfather did for 28 times, and his father did for 32 times. That is 32 plus 28 plus 30 plus 5 plus 5 makes it 100. In that 5 generation, altogether, they have done 100 Soma Yagam, which is a big achievement in their lineage, in their parampara, in their family. As I said, it's a very difficult things to do. But father of Vallabhacharya, whose name is Lakshmana Bhatta, as we said, he was the one who completed the Somayaga by adding 5 to the existing number, and made it 100 Somayaga altogether. After he performed and completed his 100 Somayaga, Lakshmana Bhatta decided to go to Kashi. He was deciding to move to Kashi and reside there with his family. He had children at that time. So he went to Kashi. But then at that time, the Kashi was under the occupancy of Mohammedans, the Muslim kings. And they were attacking Kashi very badly. And it was not a very conducive place for performing or studying, nothing over there. So Lakshmana Bhatta thought this is not the place that he want to stay there for rest of his life. So it was not very helpful for him to stay there and continue his services. So he decided to return back to his hometown along with his wife, Yellama Garu. His wife was Sri Yellama Garu, and with his children. So he was returning. As he was returning, he came to a place called Rajpur. At that time, while they was traveling back, his good wife, Yellama Garu, was pregnant. She was carrying a baby. So as they were coming to that place, Rajpur, that time the baby was delivered prematurely. Before the time she baby was delivered. But then the thing was, sad part was that the baby did not have any breath. It was not breathing. It was lifeless. And the parent, that Lakshmana Bhatta and Yelama Garu, they had concluded that the baby is dead, born by the time of birth. The parents were very distressed. They couldn't take it. They were very sad. They don't know what to do. Finally, they have to move on with their life. So they took the baby and placed the baby under some bushes over there. Um, and they didn't want to leave that place, but they have to go on. They continued their journey. As they continued the journey, they came to a close by village and they stayed there for a few days. And as they were staying there for some time before they can go to their hometown, the people who were walking there, some people were talking about, hey, did you know that people are talking that in the close by forest near Rajpur, they heard some in the forest there, they hear some babies crying. Some sound is coming, the baby is crying, no one to take care of the baby, some things like that. And they were just, rumors spread so fast, right? It's very fastly spreading. So the parents here, Lakshmana Bhatta and his wife were hearing this one. When they heard a baby crying in a forest, they immediately could relate that maybe it is our baby. If at all it's our baby, we are fortunate enough. Why don't we go and check it out? So they, father and mother, they both went to the forest. And as they went to the same spot, to their surprise, where they left the body of the baby, to their surprise, the baby was alive and the baby was crying. But the thing is, they couldn't go closer because the baby was protected by a flame of fire. There was a circle around the baby, and there was a fire flames, which was just protecting the baby from the wild animals and evil things. The baby was protected very nicely. But then as soon as the parents came and they realized that it's their baby, the fire went off. And they were able to go close to the baby and lifted the baby, embraced the baby and kissed the baby, and they showed tears, full of tears. They were so happy to get the baby back with life. And they took the baby, and as they were coming back, they named the baby as Vallabha, which means our most dear one, the loved one. And this happened in the year 1479. After some days, Lakshmana Bhatta heard the news that Kashi is safe now to go back and settle down. It is no more in a state where going to be attacked by anyone. So Lakshmana Bhatta, along with his wife and other children, plus Vallabha, they all migrated to Kashi. And this amazing, beautiful child, Vallabha, was growing very nicely. Um, when it was the right age for this boy, the father did the samskaras, whatever the necessary samskara needs to be done, Upanayanam, whatever need to be, they did this one, and he started the Vedic study for this boy. And the boy was studying the scriptures under his father, and within short span of time, Vallava became very well with Vedas, the six Angas, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavata Purana, Pancharatras, and many literature. And he was just 5 years old. When he completed his studies, he was just 5 years old. He became a Mahamedhavi, very intelligent, very scholarly in age of 5. That's all. So from this we can understand he's not an ordinary person. He cannot be an ordinary person who can learn all the Vedas, six Angas, all the Puranas, especially Bhagavata Purana, Pancharatrika, Bhagavad Gita, not just learning, also understanding the meaning of that in that age of 5, right? Where we see at the age of 5, children are still trying to learn and speak properly. Whereas here, Vallabha was just 5 years, he completed everything. But as days was passing, when Vallabha was 11 years old, he lost his father, Lakshmana Bhatta. Vallabha, along with mother, his brothers and sister, they decided to go back to their village. uh, they decided to come back to village. After they returned back to village and they stayed there for some time. And then Vallabhacharya decided that he wants to travel and go to holy dhams, all the Divya Deshas, all the holy dhams. Uh, and Vallabhacharya lived for very short span of life. He just had a short span of life. Compared to Shankara, he lived little longer. But compared to any other Acharya, he only lived for 52 years. In the short span of life, it is said that he traveled throughout India 3 times. Out of 3 times, it is said 2 times he traveled before he got married. By the way, of all other acharyas, Vallabhacharya is unique and special. He was the one who got married, unlike Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, or Shankaracharya. So he was a married, he was a Grahastha, by the way. And later he took sannyas, though, but then he lived a complete married life. In between his travel, it is said where in his travel, when he was doing yatra throughout the country of India, it is said often he comes back to his village, he visits his mother, and then he again continues going to his yatra. There are many incidents took place during his yatra. Many incidents took place that without getting into the details of when exactly it took place, because there are difference of opinion when it took place, whether it took place on his first yatra, second yatra, or a third yatra. So not getting into those details or difference of opinion which year it took place, we'll just see some of the incident that it took place during his yatra. He went to Puri, Jagannath Puri. And as he went to Jagannath Puri at that time was populated with Advaita Pandits. Many were Advaitis who are Mayavadis, speaking Mayavada philosophy. And it is said he had a debate with them. And there was a debate took place and he won over them. In some places of his biography, it is said that this particular thing happened during the second yatra. That is why we don't want to get into the details of when exactly this happened, but it is for sure these things have happened. There's no question and doubt about it. The things have happened, all these things. During the debate, when there was a discussion happening between Vallabhacharya and the Advaitis, the question was about the Parabrahman and Jivatma. That is always the topic of different schools of thought, especially when it comes to Advaita school of thought, right? Whereas the Parabrahman, there's absolute truth, and Jivatma, one or different. That's always the case. And the second big topic is whether the Maya, the world, is real or unreal. That's another topic to be discussed, where Advaiti was placing their argument and he was not Acharya by then. He's going to become Vallabha Acharya later. We are going to see that incident also later. But right now is only Vallabha, with a name that is kept by his parent. Vallabha was keeping a substantial philosophical evidence to his argument against the Advaita school of thought. So there are different versions. One version, it says that while the discussion was going on, from the Garbhagraha, from the sanitary inside of the altar where Jagannath Baladev Subhadra was placed, that date there was a asariri, there was a voice came from inside the altar saying, confirming that what Vallabha says is correct. That's another version. As things were going on for many things, the king over there, he placed the questions. That is how this whole discussion started. The king over there, that time he placed the question, 4 questions he placed. What are the 4 questions? Number one, which scripture is the best of all scriptures? Number two, which deity is the best of all deities? Number three, which mantra is the best of all mantras? And number four, which duty is the best of all duties? These were the 4 questions that was placed at that time for the debate when that was happening between different schools of thought. Many pandits were, many acharyas, many people all over the country of India. They all were there. They're talking, giving their conclusion of which scripture is the best scripture, which deity is the best deity to be worshipped, which mantra is the best mantra to be chanted, what is the duty that the best duty to be considered. Everyone was saying different things. And Vallabhacharya said that, well, let's decide what is the right thing. We'll write this question in the paper and then give this paper and a pen to write and place it inside the altar. Because now it's come to a point, Vallabhacharya already defeated the different school of thought, especially the Advaita school of thought. But then the discussion was still going on. So Vallabhacharya put an end to it. Well, if you don't agree to what I say, here is what it is. Let's write the question down here and give a pen and ink bottle and place it inside where Jagannath is there and close the door. This is what he said. And they all agreed. The king also said, this is the best thing. He also agreed, this is what we need to do. And then they all wrote the question and kept it inside the altar and closed the door. After some time, they opened the door. And there was answer for all these questions. The first question was, which scripture is the best of all scripture? The answer was, Yekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam. The second question was, which deity is the best of all deities? The answer was, Yeko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. The third question was, which mantra is the best of all mantra? Yeko Mantra Tasya Namani Yani. And the fourth question, which duty is the best of all duties? Karmapi Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. So, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva, Eko Mantra Tasya Namani Yani, Karmapi Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva. What it says is that there's only one Shastra that everyone should accept, and that is Bhagavad Gita. There is only one God that everyone have to surrender and submit and show their bhakti. That is Devaki Putra, that is Sri Krishna. There is only one mantra, that is name of Krishna, which cannot be equal to any other mantras that one can talk about or speak about. There is only one duty that everyone, that mankind should perform. That is karmapi ekam tatya devasya seva, service to Krishna. There is no big job. There is no big assignment. There's no other thing that one can consider as to be greater than performing service to Krishna. These are the only four things. When the answer came from the altar, Jaya Gosha, they were great applaud. They are great. Everyone became very joyful at that point of time. They all appreciated Vallabhacharya. And then Vallabhacharya's name was spread all over the place at that point of time. And then later Vallabhacharya traveled to Vijayanagara. Vijayanagara, you can read these names in our histories, those who read the histories of India, Vijayanagara, where the king was Krishna Devaraya. He was there. And Vallabhacharya's mother's brother, his maternal uncle, was in a very big post under Krishna Devaraya over there in Vijayanagara. So he was invited, Vallabha was invited by his uncle. So Vallabha arrived over there, and his uncle was arranging a Vidvat Sadas. Vidvat Sadas means great scholars all get together, and then they pick up a topic and then speak on the topic. And whoever does a great job answering the questions, able to present their theology as per the pramanam very nicely, they will be awarded by the king. This is a custom that goes on. And in this particular style of Vidvasadas, there is no literally any fight or anything. They won't have a big debates and arguments. One person comes and presents, he goes and sits. Another person comes and presents, but at the time of presentation, they will be questioned by other parties. It could be all they will also be questioned by their own group of people. If you're speaking about a particular Siddhanta, say for example, the Advaiti is speaking about his philosophy, there will be other Advaiti sitting and they will challenge their own party. So that is more on a healthy debate. It's called Vidva Sadas. So Vidva Sadas was arranged by the uncle of Vallabha, and then in the kingdom of Krishna Devaraya, and he invited Vallabha to also come because his uncle knows very well. Vallabha is very much into philosophy and very knowledgeable. He invited him, and in the Sadas, the great Advaitis was present. There were Dvaitis were present. Everyone were present over there, and they were all presenting their argument. And they were presenting their argument. Whatever was spoken from the Advaita school of thought on the Mayavada philosophy, Vallabha was easily able to respond back to their philosophy, and he was placing his philosophy over there. Then Dvaita, they came and spoke about the Parabrahman and Jivatma, how they have no connection at all. They have no connection at all. Vallabha gave his response denying what they said, and he established his thought over there. And Vallabha, this is the very special thing about Vallabhacharya was that Prasthanatraya. We spoke about the Prasthanatraya in the very first presentation when we gave an introduction to the flavors of Vaishnavism course, right? Prasthanatraya means the three pramanams, Shabda Pramanam, the three things which is to be accepted by all the acharyas. Number one, Upanishad. Number two, Brahma Sutram. Number three, Bhagavad Gita. These are the Prasthanatraya. All the acharyas completely depends on their basis, their philosophy on these three literatures, three granthams, Upanishad, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita. It was Vallabhacharya who added the fourth one to it. He added the fourth one as another pramanam, absolute pramanam. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam to be the pramanam, where he took all the evidence from these four scriptures and said that Parabrahman is both form and without form. He said the Parabrahman, the absolute truth, can be with form and can be without form. One can worship with form or one can worship without form as well. And he establishing this philosophy, what the philosophy was, and what is the philosophy, we'll go through that later. Now we are only seeing the life history of Vallabha. So Vallabha's amazing talent of speech was very commanding on scriptures. Krishna Devaraya very impressed, got very impressed, and he did Kanakabhishekam. Kanakabhishekam means showering that a winner with gold coins, gold coins. So then after this, he was so amazed seeing Vallabha, and he told, I give you a title as Acharya. And that point onwards, Vallabha plus Acharya became Vallabhacharya. And only after this point, he has been called as Vallabhacharya. After this event, it is said that he left his mother and sibling under the care of his maternal uncle. He left both the entire family under the care of his maternal uncle, and he continued his journey. And at this time, he went to Rameshwaram, he went to Tirumala, Tirupati, he went to Srirangam, he went to Udupi, he went to all the different places, and he worshipped the deities, and he continued to have conversation with different schools of thought, Shankara Siddhanta, Ramanuja Siddhanta, Madhva Siddhanta, and he had a healthy conversation with everyone, and he was learning from them about their Siddhantas also, especially of Ramanuja and Madhva. He accepted most of the essence of their philosophy. He accepted many things from Ramanuja and Madhvas. He accepted them, but he completely rejected the Advaita Siddhanta. That's something that he did not accept at all. It is also said he met with many jnanis and maharishis. Not only that particular school of thought, he also met with many jnanis who doesn't even fall into any of the schools of thought, and maharishis. He had a lot of nice spiritual conversation with all of them. Around that period, he met another Maharishi by name Kauntinya. Kauntinya. He met a Maharishi called Kauntinya. And this Maharishi taught Vallabhacharya Santilya Bhakti. If you remember, in one of the presentation, we saw there are 32 Vidyas from the Upanishad, 32 types of yoga, Bhakti yoga that one can perform. And one of is called Santilya Bhakti, Santilya Vidya. And that Vidya was taught to Vallabhacharya by this Kauntinya Maharishi. He learned from him. It is also this Maharishi is the same Maharishi who also met with Vishnu Swami, and he gave him the same Upadesha of the Vidya, Santilya Vidya, to Vishnu Swami as well. Then after that, it is said Vallabhacharya, after this introduction with this Maharishi, he returned back to Vijayanagara. Then again, he went to north part of India, where he went to Nasik, Pandaripur, Mathura, Vrindavan, Kurukshetra, Gangotri, Kedarnath. He visited many different places. According to the followers of the Vallabhacharya, wherever Vallabhacharya traveled, the followers of the Vallabhacharya call this place as Baitak. They especially call it, if Vallabhacharya has visited a particular place, that place becomes a very holy place for the followers of Vallabhacharya. They call that as Baitak. And there are totally 84 Baitaks in the list where Vallabhacharya traveled. Vallabhacharya once again came to Pandaripur on his travel to different places. He came back to Pandaripur. And then he went to Vithoba temple, Vittal, Rukmini Vittal temple. He went there. And while he was worshipping Vitaba over there, got an order from the deities that now you should get married and become a grahastha. This is the order that the deities of Pandaripur gave to Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya, who wanted to become a great acharya, who was seen as a great acharya, who wanted to dedicate his life for the welfare of the human mankind. Now he got an order from Pandarinath that you become a grahastha, get married and become a grahastha. The great acharya, where the previous acharyas like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarkacharya, Vishnu Swami, whomever we saw in the past, they were all sannyasis, by the way. They were all sannyasis. Um, Whereas here, Vallabhacharya was the only unique person who got directly an order from the deity saying that you got to get married. At the time, Vallabhacharya did not even think a second. He did not have any second thought. He did not question the deities. He did not say, how I'm going to do save the world. He didn't say anything. He took the word as he took the word to his heart, and then he went and found a very, very chaste lady, a girl whose name was Mahalakshmi. He said that Mahalakshmi was a daughter of Devadri, a Brahmana who lived in Kashi. Right? He got married to Mahalakshmi. She was very chaste, very devoted to her husband. And after the marriage, they settled down in Gokulam. They went in Gokul, and then they settled over there and they led the Vrigastha ashram. As the family life was going nicely, on one Shravana Masa, Shukla Ekadeshi night, when Vallabhacharya was in deep yoga stage, meditation, at that time within himself, again, there's two different versions of this particular incident that took place. I'll say that both the version. This version, one version is where in the Ekadeshi night, when he was in a deep yoga state, dhyana state, at that time he got an order within him. A voice told him, now you need to establish a sambandham or a relationship between Parabrahman and Jivatma. There should be a relationship established between the Parabrahma and Jivatma. That has to take place. For that to take place, the Jivatma should surrender to Parabrahman and give away everything to Parabrahman, the absolute truth. When that relationship is established, that is when the gate are opened where the Bhagavan's Anugraham, the mercy of the Lord, start flowing to the Jivatma. Once the Jivatma gets the Anugraham, the mercy of the Brahman to the establishment of the relationship, technically this is called Brahma Sambandham. This is called Brahma Sambandham. When that has happened, then Jivatma can easily progress spiritually and attain Mukti, attain the Lord. With this assurance, this is what he got an order within himself. Another version of the same story, same incident, is that it is that Krishna came in a different form and he gave a mantra. He told the same thing to Vallabhacharya, that you should establish a relationship between me, that is Brahman, and Jivatma. And this is called Brahma Sambandham. And to that, Krishna gave mantra, certain mantras to Vallabhacharya. The mantras are Brahma, is called Brahma Sambandha mantra, Gadhya mantra, Samarpana mantra, Atma Nivedana mantra. These are different mantras that he received directly from Krishna. Brahma Sambandha mantra, Gadhya mantra, Samarpana mantra, Atma Nivedana mantra. Atma Nivedana mantra means you're giving your Atma itself as an offering to the Lord. So we cannot openly speak about mantras. Therefore, we are not going to get into details of what the mantras are. But the meaning of, just to give a gist of what the mantra says, is beautiful. It says that for thousands of years, I have been separated from my beloved Lord Krishna. And that has been robbed me, not only the pangs of separation, which belongs to, I belong to the Lord, but I've been put into the situation which I don't belong to. Here I am lying down, falling myself at the feet of my Lord, with my body, with my senses, with my prana, with my mind, with my belongings, and everything I submit at the feet of my Lord Sri Krishna. My house, my progeny, my relatives, my wealth, everything that I have, it now belongs to you, my Krishna. Henceforth, O my Lord, I humbly submit to you as your humble servant. Please accept me. Atmani Vedam, Atmani Vedam. My Atma belongs to you. And this is the gist of the mantra. And Vallabhacharya got this and he came out to external consciousness. And then with Vallabhacharya, he had a very close associate. He was always with him. His name was Damodar Das. Vallabhacharya called Damodara Das. Damodara was very dedicated to Vallabhacharya. And then Vallabhacharya initiated Damodara Das in these mantras. Uh, and one of the mantra, which is nowadays is been put on all the medias also, Sri Krishna Charanam Mama. Sri Krishna Charanam Mama. This is one of the mantra. So with other mantras, this is one of the mantra, which is well-known mantra. Therefore, I just chanted that mantra now. So this mantra was given with other mantras to Damodar Das. And then after that, Vallabhacharya established his Siddhanta. And this Siddhanta is called, the very first name that has been given to the Siddhanta is called Brahma Sambandham. Brahma Sambandha. That is the original name of this Siddhanta called Brahma Sambandha. That is the Sambandha, to establish the relationship with the Parabrahman and Jivatma and submitting everything with certain mantras. Once what happened, Vallabhacharya, while he was in the place, and he found a deity of Krishna in a place close by, in a cave close by. He found a deity of Krishna where Krishna form was so very special, with his left hand raised up and the right hand on his hip, and left hand up with a pinky finger, little finger pointing upward, right? And that is nothing but Krishna lifting over than him. Vallabhacharya brought the deity close to where he was living over there, and close by that place, he established a place to worship this deity, Prana Pratishtha. He did Prana Pratishtha and started worshipping the deity, and he named the deity as Srinathji. Srinathji worship started from there. Later what happened was this deity, Srinathji, was transferred from there to Nathadwara close to Udaipur in Rajasthan. And till today, that Srinathji is being worshipped there in Rajasthan, in Nathadwara. Now, as a third time Vallabhacharya was doing his Tirtha Yatra, as he was traveling, he was giving Brahma Sambandha Upadesha, Brahma Sambandha Upadesha, wherever he was going. He was initiating people into the Brahma Sambandha, connecting the Jivatma to Paramatma, to the process of initiating them in that mantra, in the mantra that he received personally. In this way, the Brahma Sambandha philosophy, Siddhanta was spreading all over the place, opening up the door of Bhagavan Sri Krishna's Anugraha, causeless mercy, to flow into the Jivatmas. He became a mediator to open the gate for the mercy of Krishna to flow to all the mankind. And this particular Siddhanta is also called as Pushti Marga. Pushti means complete, nourished, completely nourished. Pushti Marga. We'll see the meaning of what this Pushti Marga, what is Brahma Sambandha. It also has another name called Brahmavada. Like how Adi Shankara is called Mayavada, how Madhvacharya is called Tattvavada, Vallabhacharya's philosophy is called Brahmavada. So we'll see the meanings more detail when we get into the philosophical section. Now, Vallabhacharya traveled, he started giving Bhagavat Purana. Bhagavatam is his main source for delivering lectures. Bhagavata Purana, he was giving in such a profound way, beautifully explaining the details of Bhagavad. No one could explain so beautifully than Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya was giving so detailed explanation of Bhagavata Katha. All people are so much attracted, like how a particle get attracted to the magnet when it comes closer. Likewise, all the people got attracted to Vallabhacharya, the way he was delivering Srimad Bhagavatam. As he was giving this, people were surrendering to Vallabhacharya, and Vallabhacharya was giving Brahma Sambandham, establishing the Brahma Sambandham to the people, to Sri Krishna Bhagavan Krishna. This Siddhanta, which was well known as Brahma Sambandha, also known as Pushti Marga, also known as Vallabha Sampradaya. This is Sampradaya is also known as Vallabha Sampradaya. As I said earlier, it is also called as Brahma Vada. And it is also said, we can also read from the biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that there was several occasions where Vallabhacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have met and had nice conversation. One of the connecting point for them to both of them to connect together, the connecting factor is Krishna, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna Bhakta. Also, Vallabhacharya, who's also called as Mahaprabhu by his followers, is also Krishna Bhakta. They both were worshipping and sharing Krishna Kathas, Krishna's pastime, their Anubhava about Krishna. They had a very good relationship. They had a very good relationship. And after finishing Tirtha Yatra, Vallabhacharya went back to Varanasi. And over there, he was criticizing heavily Advaita philosophy, because Advaita was becoming, even though Vallabhacharya was spreading his philosophy, there were other Vaishnava schools of thought, but Advaita was coming, it still was not suppressed. It was just growing in its own speed. Advaita Siddha was going in its own speed, especially rapid during Vallabhacharya's time and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time. Therefore, Vallabhacharya especially settled down in Varanasi so that he can get the Mayavada philosophy out of Varanasi. But then what was happening is that the Advaitis over there were bringing bad names to Vallabhacharya through their classes, their lectures. They wrote small literatures condemning Vallabhacharya Brahma Sambandha philosophy. Brahma Sambandha, Pushti Marga. They are trying to minimize Vallabhacharya Siddhanta. Vallabhacharya tried his best, but then it was becoming too much. It was really becoming too much for him. Therefore, at one point of time, he wrote an article. He wrote an article establishing a Siddhanta, condemning the Advaita Siddhanta, and he went to a close by Shiva temple, and he hung the article over there, and he left that place of Varanasi and went back. Now he went to Allahabad, where Triveni Sangam, there was Triveni Sangam, the three rivers set together, and he settled down in close by village of that particular Triveni Sangam. He settled over there, and he was much more in peace now compared to where he was in Varanasi. At this time, he was able to concentrate more on writing literature and more on preaching to all the people that he saw. He had two sons. They gave birth to two sons. But the first son uh, died very soon. It was the second son who stayed back. He was late, and his name was Vittalnath. And it was Vittalnath who was then took over all the leftover work of Vallabhacharya. He took it further, and then he spread Vallabha Siddhanta, Vallabhacharya Siddhanta. At some point of time, Vallabhacharya often heard a voice saying that you should take sannyas, you should take sannyas, you should take sannyas. He was kept on hearing this voice talking to him, saying that you should take sannyas, Asariri voice. Then Vallabhacharya decided it's high time that I should take sannyas, which means I should leave the home and go. So he left the home and he went to another great saint called Madhusudana Puri, a sannyasi, and revealed his heart to him, saying that I want to become sannyas. Could you please honor me, initiate me in sannyas ashram? And Madhusudana Puri gave the saffron dress and initiated him to be a sannyas. This Vallabhacharya already knows Madhusudana Puri is not new to Vallabhacharya. He knows Madhusudana Suri even before. This Madhusudana Puri is the one who actually he was the cause of Vallabhacharya to develop taste towards Bhagavatam. It was Madhusudana Puri. Because of him, Vallabhacharya developed taste towards Bhagavatam. And also it is same Madhusudana Puri who assisted Vallabhacharya to establish the Krishna Vigraha that he found from the cave, that Srinath Vigraha over there. It was same Madhusudana Puri helped him. But the only thing is that Madhusudana Puri does not belong to the same school of thought of Vallabhacharya or Vishnu Swami. He belonged to Madhva Sampradaya, Madhva Siddhanta. But nevertheless, Vallabhacharya did not mind the differences. He wanted to get initiated. Therefore, he accepted initiation of sannyas from Madhusudana Puri. And after the initiation of becoming sannyas, also Madhusudana Puri named Vallabhacharya as Purnananda. He got a sannyasi name as Purnananda. And this also took place in Varanasi at that time. Over there, he established an ashram. He established an ashram. He was living there. And at that point of time, it is said that his family members, his wife and children, they all came to visit him. They came visit him to get his blessings. At that time, when he saw his family members, wrote on the seashore near the Ganges, on the seashore, he wrote a sloka which had 3.5 lines. It was not 4 lines. Usually, there will be four parts to the slokas. And this one he wrote, he only had 3 padas, only three. The last one was not written. Okay? But the message of this particular sloka that he has written is, the essence of that is, what he wrote is, he said the objects of this world is qualified to be perished. Everything that you see here is going to be perished. It is only one thing that which doesn't perish is Parabrahman, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, to whom we have to develop faith, and he is the one who can save us. This was what the essence of the 3 lines. We wrote only 3 lines and then he left. But then the next day morning, when they all came back near the seashore, they were all surprised to see that incomplete sloka was completed with the 4th line over there. It was not Vallabhacharya who wrote, it was not no one who would have written that thing, but it was completed, saying that, yes, I guarantee what has been written there will be satisfied. Krishna is saying that it is Krishna who has written that I am ready. I am waiting for that, for one who is surrendering unto me. I am ready to take care of them. The 4th line completed saying that I am ready to save you. I am ready to save you. So their people's faith was rapidly increasing on Vallabhacharya. They depended on Vallabhacharya. They surrendered to Vallabhacharya. They accepted the Vallabha Siddhanta. They were getting connected to Parabrahman through the process of initiation, through Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya felt at one point of time that his mission has been fulfilled. And then he thought, it is time for me to depart now from this world. Then he started walking towards the Ganges. He was just walking, continued walking. He entered into the Ganges. As he entered into the Ganges, he disappeared. People were watching that he was walking into the Ganges, but all they could see is they couldn't see anyone after that. He disappeared. But then from the spot where he disappeared, a jyoti, a light flame, came up and it traveled upward, traveling upward. It went up. Everyone witnessed this one. They saw what has happened, and at the time, Vallabhacharya was only 52 years old. The year was 1531. What Vallabhacharya has done is great to the world. He only lived short period, but he has done a great achievement. Even now, of many sampradayas, some of them have faded away, some of them are still there. Out of that, Vallabha Sampradaya is still there and still exists. And the Siddhanta is Shuddha Advaita Siddhanta. Now, with that said, now let's understand some of his writings. He has written, it is said that he has written 84 literature scriptures, 84 scriptures in only 52 years, right? 84 scriptures. So we are just going to see only some of them here and what they are in nutshell, in short. The first one is Shubhodhini. Shubhodhini is a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is not a complete commentary of all the 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam because he couldn't complete it. The commentary only includes first canto, second canto, third canto, and a 10th canto. But then he couldn't complete in his time frame, in his lifespan, he couldn't complete the rest of it. For him, Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest authority. Then, of course, Upanishad, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita. The next literature is Tattvartha Deepa Nibandhanam, the second literature. This book speaks about Vallabhacharya's as established Siddhanta called Shuddhadvaita Siddhanta. Then he himself wrote a commentary to Tattvartha Deepa Nibandhana called Prakasham. That's another one he wrote also. That is not listed over here. That's another one he wrote. The third book is Bhagavata Dasamaskanda Arthanu Kramanikai. So this is another one. There are 68 slokas in this one, where this book speaks about Krishna's childhood Leela pastimes. That is the third book. The fourth book is Bhagavata Ekadasa Skandhartha Nirupana Karikai. This book is a commentary on or explanation or in nutshell on the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Only it has 14 slokas. That's all. The fifth book is Purushottama Sahasranama. This is another nice one. Purushottama Sahasranama, where what Vallabhacharya has done is he has collected 1,000 names of the Lord from Srimad Bhagavatam. Just from Srimad Bhagavatam alone, 1,000 names and 75 additional names from other Puranas. That is what the content of this book called Purushottama Sahasra Namam. The sixth book is Anubhashyam. Anubhashyam is nothing but the commentary on Brahma Sutra, Vedanta Sutra by Veda Vyasa, right? So he is commented on Anubhashyam. But what he has done is only did till the second Adhyaya, 2.2.23. He did not complete the entire one because the Brahma Sutra has 4 Adhyayams. He could only come to the point, he could only do for the second Adhyaya. The rest thing was completed by his son, Vittalnath. He completed the rest of the commentary on Brahma Sutra. The seventh book is Patra Valambanam. Patra Valambanam is the 69, consists of 39 slokas. It is a response to Advaita Vada, Maya Vada. He is giving a response to them. And this is exactly what he wrote and hung in front of the Shiva temple, if you still remember what I said just a few minutes back. Before he left Varanasi, that is what he wrote, and that's the book, Patra Valambanam. He wrote this. And then the eighth book he wrote was Gayatri Bhashyam. Gayatri Bhashyam is a commentary on Gayatri Mantra in relationship. This is a beautiful one. Explanation to Gayatri Mantra in relationship to the first sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Janmadi Asya Yato Anvaya Idara Tacha Abhinya Swarata Tene Brahma Hriday Adi Avaya Mukhyantya Suraya. That particular sloka from Srimad Bhagavatam, he is connected that sloka with Gayatri Mantra and given an explanation, and that book is called Gayatri Bhashyam. The ninth book is called Purva Mimamsa Karika. Purva Mimamsa Karika is consists of 42 slokas. It is an explanation given on Karma Kanda part on the Purva Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa. And then as we know, there's a Purva Mimamsa and there's a Uttara Mimamsa. Uttara Mimamsa commentary is nothing but Vedanta Sutra, whereas the Purva Mimamsa on the Veda Karma Kanda is called Purva Mimamsa by Jaimini Rishi. Right? So he is given a commentary on that one with 42 slokas. And the 10th book is called Purva Mimamsa Bhashya, elaborate explanation and commentary on the Jaimini's Mimamsa Sutra. And the 11th book is called Bhagavata Pitikai. Bhagavata Pitikai. This book is on a dialogue format where the it's in a dialogue format explaining the Sat, Chit, Ananda Rupa of Parabrahman and his avatara and his Leela. This is Bhagavata Pitikai. The 12th book is called Panchasloki, where Vallabhacharya explains the duty of those who are engaged in Bhakti Marga. What are the duties of those who are engaged in Bhakti Marga? He explains in 5 slokas in Panchasloki. And the 13th book is called Shastrartha Prakaranam. Shastrartha Prakaranam, where in this particular book, literature, he explains what is Karma Yoga, what is Jnana Yoga, and what is Bhakti Yoga. That is all in this particular book. In the 14th book, Shodasha Grantham. This is not a book, by the way. The 14th one is Shodasha Grantham, where you don't see it here. That is nothing but from the Yamuna Ashtakam. It goes to 16 Granthams, 16 small booklets, small booklets, right? Shodasha Grantham. Those are the 16 books he wrote. Yamuna Ashtakam, glorifying Yamuna river. Bala Bodhanam. It speaks about the Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. He explains that one. Siddhanta Muktavali. He speaks about Pushti Marga. He explains the Pushti Marga in the mode of Dasya, in the Dasya Bhakti. And then he also wrote a book called Siddhanta Ragasya, Secrets of his Siddhanta. And the 5th one is Pushti, Pravaha, Maryada Bheda. This we are going to see when we get into the Siddhanta philosophy about there are three categories of Jivatma that Vallabhacharya classifies them into Pushti, Pravaha, and Maryada. These three classes of Atmas that he explains in this particular literature, small book. Next is Navaratna. Navaratna is another book where he explains the surrendered Atma and his condition. What is the condition of the surrendered Atma towards Krishna? That he explains it. Anthakarana Prabodha. This is another literature which speaks about what is the benefit of following Krishna's instruction. What one gets by following Krishna's instruction. What is the benefit that one gets? And another book is called Viveka Acharya Nirupanam. Here the condition and the mindset of those who are surrendered. If you are surrendered, if you perform the Sharanagati to Krishna, what is a Mahavishwasam? What is a complete faith, unflinching faith one should have? What is the mindset one should have? That is explained in this particular book. Next is Krishna Ashraya Stotram. In this book, it is only Krishna to whom we have to surrender. No one even we have to worry about. And he is the only one who can save us. That is explained in the Stotram, in a Stotram format, in a beautiful poetic format. And another book is called Chatusloki. Chatusloki, where the Purushartham based on Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, based on Pushti Marga. The previous one was, it's a general one, whereas here it speaks about based on the Pushti Marga. And another book is called Bhakti Vardhini. Bhakti Vardhini, here he explains about the bhakti and those things which helps one to develop their bhakti. And Jalabheda is another book. Jalabheda book, he compares the Bhagavan's Leela with the Vedas. He takes the Vedas and he compares Bhagavan's Leela and he tried to explain that based on the Vedas. Panchapatyam. The next book is called Panchapatyam, where he tells how one's mind should be when one is listening to the lecture. Mindset when you are sitting and listening in a lecture. Lakshanam. He talks about that. And Sannyasa Nirnayam. Sannyasa Nirnayam is another book which says what is Sannyasa Lakshanam? What are the duties of the Sannyasa? That is explained in that one. Nirodha Lakshanam. Nirodha Lakshanam, after focusing on Brahman, Bhagavan, after completely fixing on Bhagavan, the state that Jivatma must be, how you should behave with the outside world, how you should focus on Bhagavan. That is Nirodha Lakshanam. And the Seva Palam is the last short book in this Sodasa Grantham. Seva Palam is by performing devotional service to Krishna, what is the fruit that one gets? What is the result that one gets? What is the benefit that one gets? These are the books he has written. Besides this, he also written Madhurashtakam, the famous Madhurashtakam. Everyone knows Madhurashtakam, heard Madhurashtakam, how Vallabhacharya speaks, how Krishna's smile is Madhuram, how his walk is Madhuram, how his speech is Madhuram, how his smile is Madhuram, how his eyes are in Madhuram. He just goes on. Everything, gopis are Madhuram, Vrindavan is Gokulam is Madhuram, all is Krishna Katha is Madhuram. Beautiful Madhurashtakam is written by Vallabhacharya. Prema Amritam is another one. Nanda Kumara Ashtakam is another one. He has written lot more that he has written. Only we have presented a little bit over here. That great Acharya, Vallabhacharya, is living in these books. What we have seen, according to the followers of Vallabhacharya, a lot. Whatever is written, what Vallabhacharya has presented and given as a gift to the world, according to the followers of Vallabhacharya, they say, is lifetime, when you read his lifetime, that itself a great literature. That itself a great thing. Cannot be compared to anything else. When you keep Vallabhacharya biography on one plate and you keep on the other plate all the literatures that he has written, still nothing can be compared to his own life itself. That is the greatness of Vallabhacharya. With that, I said, now we have to see Vallabhacharya's philosophy called Shuddhadvitam. In the Shuddhadvitam, which is also called as Shuddha Brahma Sambandham, which is called as Pushti Marga, which is called as Brahmavada. What is the meaning of Brahmavada? What is the meaning of Pushti Marga? What is the meaning of Brahma Sambandham? What is the Shuddha Advaitam? what is according to the Vallabhacharya Brahman means, how Vallabhacharya philosophy differs from Vishishta Advaitam, how it differs from Dvaitam, how it differs from Vishuddha Advaitam by Vishnu Swami, how it differs completely. We have to learn that one. How Brahman differs from other philosophy. What is Brahman according to Vallabhacharya? What is Jivatma according to Vallabhacharya? How many Jivatmas are there? How we classify Jivatmas? And what is moksha? How to attain moksha? These are the things that we will learn in the second part of this presentation. If we get into those things now, it is not going to be ended in 30 minutes. It's going to take a lot of time. Therefore, we'll reserve and let's meditate on what we learned on Vallabhacharya for now, the great soul, the great Acharya, and then we'll come back again to know and understand his philosophy. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.